Hello, everyone, and welcome to Attuning to the Voice of Mother Earth, How to Hear Her and Follow Her Call Global Conference, where through inspiring interviews, we're invited to explore real actions we can take as individuals to deepen our connection to Mother Earth, while at the same time discovering a way to our truer selves. My name is Maya Zacharow, and I'm your host and a producer of the Attuning to the Voice of Mother Earth Summit, and a founder of Sisters Wellspring. And we are here with Aurora Farber. Welcome, Aurora.
Thank you so much, Maya. I'm really delighted to be here.
It's wonderful to be here with you, or to have you with us as a speaker. Thank you. So for the audience, I just wanted to let you guys know I'm going to go ahead and, as usual, just read Aurora's bio as a way of introducing her to you. So I'm going to go ahead now. Aurora Anorka Farber, feminine leadership coach, spiritual guide, writer, speaker, and modern-day priestess, is on a mission to help women step into leadership to ignite their feminine fire, the three flames of power, love, and wisdom that are key to awakening the new feminine evolutionary consciousness that will heal our world. She helps women burn away limiting beliefs, align their feminine moon rhythm, and embody their purpose in the world. Aurora holds honors degrees in literature and foreign language, along with professional certification and coaching. She's a priestess initiate of the 13 Mystery School. As a temple guide mentor of the Priestess Temple, Presence Temple, she mentors women in how to create sacred space and become temple guides in their communities. She's a co-author of 3 books in the New Feminine Evolutionary series, The New Feminine Evolutionary, Pioneering the Path to Prosperity, and Sacred Body Wisdom. She's also a featured writer and artist in upcoming books, Voices of the Avalonian Priestesses. Her guiding vision is a world of women claiming their creative powers, loving their body temples, and being beacons of fierce wisdom as they burn away archaic limiting beliefs and light the world on fire with love. So let's go in right into the questions. So your talk is called She Who Holds, Reclaiming the Great Mother to Birth a New World. So can you tell us why you chose to, why you chose this topic today, and what is the message?
Yes, I'd love to. Well, first of all, I'm just delighted to be here with you. I want to thank you for inviting me to speak on this summit, and also for this timely topic that you are introducing all of us to invite us into listening, to attuning, to connecting with Mother Earth. And so for me, anytime I'm invited to speak, I listen and I attune and I say, okay, what is calling to be spoken? And when I listened in for this, I realized that this is the perfect time to be talking about this archetypal energy of the Great Mother, because we are in a time of the coronavirus, of this pandemic, where we're all called home. We're called into our physical, literal homes, and we're called home to ourselves. We're called to come home and evaluate what really matters, what is important, what is essential. And in order to do that, we have to be still. We've been living in a world of hustle and bustle and doing and bright, shiny new objects. And it's been, delightful. It's been distracting. And now we don't have that. We can't go out. Going out is almost an adventure to go forage for your food.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, it's given me, one of the gifts of this has given me a whole new appreciation for food and how I used to just take it for granted. Now I have to, I sanitize my groceries, I prepare the food, it's this reverence. And then when I think back to where does the food come from? The food comes from the planet and Mother Earth. So in some ways, this time is a gift. Now, albeit it is a tragic time, I'm not discounting that. And I send just heartfelt prayers for all those who are suffering from this virus, this literal virus, and from the virus of fear that is, enveloping our planet at this time. because we're all looking for some sense of safety, and the
Mhm.
structures that we've had in the past have to do with finding our safety and our power and our security on structures outside of ourselves. And
Mhm.
because we're all called home to to Mother Earth, we have to start to look inside and say, what is truly my foundation? What is what is important at this time in my life? And what is the new beginning that is calling to be birthed? Because that's the other thing is we're all kind of wanting to go back to normal, but it's never going to be the same. And so there's this, what's going to be our new normal? You may have heard people say that, like, what's
Mhm.
normal? And so the exciting part of that is that we get this opportunity to birth a new awakening, a new type of society, a new human where we can walk in reverence to what nourishes us, to the planet, to Mother Earth. And that's why when I sat with this, I was delighted, first of all, because Mother Earth, I love the mother archetype. The mother archetype is the archetype of new beginnings.
Mhm.
And along with that, this knowing that she's also the archetype of birthing something. And that's where I feel that we're at in the world. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, why it's so important right now to claim this archetypal energy of rebirthing both ourselves into
Mhm.
being and rebirthing a new world.
Yes. Yes, 100%. It's, I mean, you said it perfectly. I don't know if there's much to add. Yeah. So I just wanted to ask you another question. You have fire as an element that is central to your work. So why are you so passionate about helping others to ignite feminine fire in the world? And how has igniting your feminine fire helped to attune to the voice of the mother and how your own, like to your own soul purpose?
Yeah. So you can probably tell I really like fire all around me, right? But it wasn't always that way. Like when I first got the nudge that fire was to be the element that I worked with in my work in the world, I was resistant because I felt I was more a water person, you know, kind of mellow, wanting peace, emotional, and fire, oh, that could be out of control. It could burn too much. And so I wasn't really comfortable with fire. And yet, fire is was the gift of the gods. It
Mhm.
was it was the element that was stolen by Prometheus to give to mankind, in that mythological story, to create. And so when I began to look at fire as a creative tool, I something shifted for me because I am a very creative being. And so my work began to evolve with this energy of fire almost burning inside of me. And that's what I'd love to connect the audience with today, because what I truly believe is that that fire is a divine spark, the divine spark of our humanity and our divinity that is held in our bodies. And so I would love to do a meditation for all of you just to kind of connect to that fire and then to experience for yourself what fire means to you.
Yes, absolutely. What a treat, please.
Wonderful. So I would just ask that you place your feet on the floor and just feel the connection to the ground, to the floor, and to Mother Earth. Feel your seat on your chair. And again, just sink down and feel that connection. Feel how you're automatically held and tethered to this earth. You don't have to do anything, you just have to be. The weight of gravity of your body, of this sacred vessel that holds you. And just sink into that knowing that you are held by Mother Earth, by gravity, and by this amazing vessel that is your body. And so just gently take a breath in, allowing the air to connect with your heart, feeling your heart lighten with this awareness. And then allowing the breath in your second breath to go even deeper and to go all the way down to your root chakra, to the base of your spine. Just become aware of that place that you are connected. And from that place, send a taproot down into the floor and into the earth. Feel it going down into the earth, into the fertile soil, down past many roots, down through different sediments, and all the way down into the core of Mother Earth, Mama Gaia. And there you feel that hot, blazing, fiery core of Mother Earth, Mother Earth's heartbeat, right there, waiting for you. Connect to that fire. And as you breathe in this time, breathe up that fire and allow it to come up that root, nourishing you with that fertile support of Mother Earth, the place of new beginnings where all creation begins. Allowing it to come all the way up into your root chakra. Feel that red color frequency lighting up the first chakra, filling up your pelvic bowl, your womb space, your belly, the second and third chakra, and all the way to your heart, where that red frequency connects to your heart, your red heart. And as you breathe in, you are breathing in that lifeblood of the planet, so connected to you. Allow it to travel all through the arteries and veins of your body, filling you with the knowing that you are held. And now bringing your consciousness to the top of your head. Imagine there your crown chakra, this crown opening and sending up a light laser beam up through the rooftops, up through the sky and the clouds and the stratosphere, all the way up into the cosmos until it attaches itself to a bright star that is calling your name. Feel the energy of that fiery star. And as you breathe in this time, breathe that starlight, that stardust that you are made of. Breathe that back down into your crown chakra, filling all the light sensitive areas of your brain with that light and that knowing that you are a divinely created creature, that you have a purpose and a mission on this planet. And allow that light to go down your face and the back of your neck into your sixth chakra, igniting your intuition, down your throat, igniting your voice and your ability to speak truth, your truth, down the back of your neck and into the back of your heart, where you feel this light energy igniting the back of your heart and opening up your wings. Breathe that in. That part of you that is the winged creature, that is divine, that is of space and the cosmos and of starlight. And as you breathe this golden light into your heart, allow it to mix with that red frequency of Mother Earth, of your body, of your humanity, until it becomes a beautiful swirling pink, a golden pink, the pink like a baby's cheek, so soft, so tender, like your heart. Allow that pink frequency to let your heart open. And as you continue to breathe in this pink frequency, imagine that this is a beautiful pink lotus. And at the very center is this divine spark of your creativity that lights up your humanity and divinity. this spark that is like a pilot light that never goes out, even in the darkest of times. And it is here for you to connect to at any time so that you remember who you really are. Breathing that in, and with every breath, you can allow that flame to grow brighter. If you feel any shields on your heart that says, no, I am not this, I am not that, I cannot do this, any judgments you may have about yourself, any sense of unworthiness, any sense of judgment you may have on others, this fire is here to help you burn that away. And so allow the frequency of fire to both illuminate the truth of who you are and to burn away any limiting beliefs that hold you back from the light and the truth of who you are. Breathe that in and allow that beautiful pink rose frequency of the goddess of love to travel into the arteries and veins of your body, into your wings, into your light body, and feel it like a gentle caress to all the muscles and limbs and bones, to the very cells of your body. This caress from the inside that says, you are loved, you are held, you are not alone. I am here for you. I am. And just breathing that in, feeling the warmth that's flooding your body now as you come back to this time and this place. Bowing, taking your hands left and right together at your heart, bowing in gratitude to your own ability to connect to the power within, to the light within, to the love within. And so taking a bow to your own heart, the temple of your heart, in deepest gratitude, and bowing to one another for this shared sacred space of connection. Just breathe that in one last time. Love, only love. And when you're ready, you can slowly begin to move your fingers, wiggle your toes, move your body, and gently open your eyes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been wonderful. Wonderful. I love how in the meditation how basically you describe, or like we're rooted here on earth, we're supported and held by her, but at the same time we have wings. We are the creatures made of stardust. So it's so wonderful to have this heavenly and earthly connection together. I don't know what's more special than that.
While you say something so powerful and something that I wanted to talk about is, in this archetypal energy of the mother, if you look at something like the moon cycle, that's represented by the new moon. If you look at the seasonal cycle, that's represented by the winter, right? And so these are times of deep nourishment, of deep support, of knowing that you're supported. And what's beautiful, as part of that cycle, from the new moon, you go to the full moon, right? From the winter, you go to the summer. And that's what the promise of really reclaiming this energy of mother, of rest, of renewal, of reflection and sanctuary is so important. And that's my wish for this new awakening, is that we will go back to our new normal, remembering that this is not only something nice to do, something nice to treat yourself to, but that it's essential and that it's actually our birthright. We, especially as women, because we are creatrixes, we create life, right? That what more magic is there than that? But this rhythm of the moon from new to full and then coming back into oneself, like we are now coming back into oneself, this is our birthright. We've been living in a society that expects us to be in the full moon phase all the time, right? Or in the what I call the queen phase, the first quarter
Mhm.
moon, like doing, creating structures, and then shining, connecting. And that whole other half of the moon phase, which is all about coming into completion, reflecting, letting go of what no longer serves, reevaluating, resetting, and resting in the Great Mother. And so I think what you're talking about, that juiciness of knowing that we are held
Mhm.
and that we have wings, that's the new normal that I see. That's the new human that I see, is one who walks with her feet or his feet on the ground, and every step is a blessing to Mother Earth, and who has these beautiful wings that can fly, that can connect, that can flutter, and even, sometimes I use my wings to help me come into sanctuary. I imagine that, or to
Mhm.
flutter my own heart when I need a little bit of more lightness because I'm caught in the density of life, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's what you're talking about, is this integration of what would it be like to, in this new world where we could be, connecting and shining with people, but we also come in to ourselves, and that is sacred.
Mhm. Absolutely, yes. 100%. I think this is one of the things that we're going through during this time, this period, whether we wanted to or not. It just the interview is being recorded. It's April 15th. So of course, because of the coronavirus, we're here at home. Most of us are at home. Of course, some of us are on the front lines, and of course, there's a big range of fear and emotion going in. Some people don't have enough to eat, some people have been laid off of work, some people are struggling with the coronavirus or have their loved ones struggling with the coronavirus, and they can't quite help them or have to help them or can't visit them in hospitals and um, in different places, even like nursing homes. So it's a tough time, and just to, I guess, bring it back to what you were talking about, how we are here on Earth. It's like we have large cycles of going inward, and also like a macrocosm and a microcosm. For instance, like during the winter, of course, it's an inward time, but also like even on on the daily, we have light and dark, we have night and day. So during it's okay to have longer periods of us going inward and reflecting, as you said, and thinking about birthing something new and nourishing ourselves. And also, during our full moon time, it's okay to take, let's say you're creating something, you're making something, to go out for a walk in the woods, to ground yourself and to bring the energy to coalesce yourself, in order so that it helps you to create more, or knowing what the next step is also okay. So all of these things, I mean, we have to embrace and kind of relate back to how things are on Earth, and we are earthly creatures, no matter what. So it would behoove us to take an example of all the things, the seasonal cyclical things she's trying to teach us.
Yes, because Mother Nature, Mother Earth, she has a rhythm that works, that's beautiful, that is sustainable and regenerative. But we have kind of forgotten that. And I love what you're saying. It reminds me, in the 13 moon archetypes, that's the mystery school that I am a part of. The Great Mother is the very first archetype. And her mantra is, I surrender, I receive. And that's such a different way of starting something.
Mhm, mhm,
We're kind of taught to be, okay, we're at the beginning, get behind the gate, the gun goes off, you get in best shape as you can, and then you just charge forward, right? This feminine path is different. This path of the moon, this path of nature, is to say, I surrender all my leaves. I surrender all the stuff that came before. And
mhm,
in this place of the unknown, in this place of darkness, I will receive what is needed for me at this time.
mhm,
That's a very different kind of mentality. And for us, and And even for me being on this path, I like my control. I like the illusion of control.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I have this knowing and this archetypal energy that can connect me back to the truth that we are not in control.
Mm-mm.
That there is actually, and this is the message I want to share with the audience, that there is actually a gift in not being in control. There's a freedom in that. And
Mhm.
there's a freedom in not having everything be certain because we don't have to live in this tight set of rules, right? What's happening now on a collective level, we are in this cycle together. And I mean, what else could have made this happen? Like, what else could have made us slow down? It's actually just astonishing, you know, for people who have been wanting something to change, a new awakening.
Mhm.
How what a gift it is that we can do this together, right? We can awaken together, and we can give our planet this pause. Like, we're taking the pause, but the planet's taking the pause. The airplanes aren't flying, the cars, that you've seen all those videos of, animals coming back into the city. It's like it's coming into balance. And
Ex-
so that's the the message. One of the messages is that it is our birthright to expand and to contract. And this pause,
Mhm.
this time, whether, like you said, it's in the day or in the month or in the moon cycle or in the year or in this global pandemic, that when we attune and we listen, we know when we need rest. I think, and I'm so guilty of it, like most people, even though I talk about it all the time,
Mhm.
I have to sometimes make myself rest. And that's why I'm so grateful for the moon cycle, because I know, at least by following the moon cycle, I know that the new moon's coming up next week. And so I'm here at the last part of this moon cycle, and I'm tidying up and completing things so that I can begin next Monday or so resting and listening and
Mhm.
making that my sacred time. So that's a structure that we can begin to look at and follow as we be. And that is one of the ways, we started this conversation about igniting your feminine fire.
Yes.
This spark that I spoke about in your heart is always there. But what happens through overwhelm, exhaustion, always going, always being on, the light of your sacred spark gets diminished. It gets covered
Mhm.
up in all the activity and the busyness and the to dos, right?
Mhm.
There's no time for us to actually just breathe it in and amplify it and expand it. So
Exactly.
this, following your rhythm, following a rhythm that is attuned to you and to Mother Earth, that's why it's one of my feminine fire secrets.
Mhm.
Because when we do that, we can listen. And when we listen, we can activate our intuition. For me, feminine fire too, I gave you a meditation to feel it, like that divine spark inside. But what I'd also like to say about fire is I feel it, and I've been playing with it because it was given to me as something to work with. So I play with it. For me, I feel it in the frequency of orange and red, in the fire, the fire that we think of that burns and creates and shapes and molds. I
Mhm.
also feel it in the frequency of purple and the frequency of the goddess of compassion, the compassionate fire. And I feel it in the three flames of power, love, and wisdom. The goddess of compassion, Mudra, is ring finger to thumb. And I love to say power, love, and wisdom as a mudra, as a
Mhm.
three
I
flames at my
like that.
heart. Because what if we lived in a world where, when we and our leaders made
Mhm.
decisions, they went, let me connect to my masculine and feminine, right? Feminine, masculine. Let me connect my humanity, like what I'm actually struggling with in my life, and my divine spark, my divine knowing, my purpose. What if
Mhm.
I connect that together and I ignite in myself first power with love, with wisdom?
Yes.
What kind of
Mhm.
leadership would we have if that were the case, instead of what's happened in the past? It's been all about power. It's
Yeah.
been about power over you so that I can be more powerful, right? And now this global pandemic is asking us to ignite those three flames, because
Mhm.
we have to be careful that we're not infecting other people.
Mhm.
We have to be conscious of the other. This is welcoming in a new era of humanity, of a humanity consciousness, rather than, a tribal consciousness of my tribe versus your tribe, which we have seen so much in these last few years, us against them. Now
Yes.
we're in a place where it's like, okay, what do we need? And that's what I also want to say about igniting feminine fire. Now, of course, feminine fire, because I know that you're going to have male audience members here too. It's not just for women. We each have a masculine and feminine side. So I work primarily with women, but also for men to ignite those feminine qualities of compassion and tolerance and equality and unconditional love. Those are all the aspects of the divine feminine that's wanting to come forth in the world right now.
Yes, yes. It's so true, so powerful. Absolutely. I think what you said about our leaders being balanced and just I this is this is the time to see how our leaders lead us and lead us, but also it's the time for us to discover our leadership. And it's a different type of leadership. It's not like you said, it's not just like a gun, and you start off running, see, what you can you do, what can you conquer. And it's not about your power over somebody else. It's also a leadership during uncertain times. It's almost a leadership in you have to have trust and unknown, and then balance yourself and center yourself from that time. And I think all of us have to understand that we are also leaders. It doesn't have to be, I don't even have to be a community leader. I can just be a leader of myself or in my own house. How did I structure my day today? How did how did I homeschool my kids today? What did I do? So this idea of balance and rest, it just leads me to another question I wanted to ask. So in your latest book project, Sacred Body Wisdom, the mother is one of the four voices in the moonlight, and archetypal allies that we can access bring more balance, pleasure, and connection into our lives. So can you tell us more about what has inspired you to write about these lunar archetypes and to help us have more joy and balance as we create new world based on compassion, as you said, harmony and wisdom?
Yeah, I'd love to. And, for me, writing is one of my sacred tools to find and receive my own wisdom because I write intuitively and I write from emotion and I write about what's my edge. Like I write about what I don't really want to talk about because it's in the shadow that
Hmm.
is the gift, right? And for me as a writer, I know that when I dive into it, I probably will find something for myself, but also for others. And so for me, that when I was asked to write about that sacred body wisdom, I was wondering, okay, what has my body taught me? And the thing I didn't want to write about was cancer. I didn't want to go through that experience again because I was diagnosed with melanoma about 2014. So it's been 6 years now. And when that happened, I had just moved from China. I lived in China for almost 10 years with our kids and my husband. And we had come back here to the States, and I was very busy being a mom, trying to get everyone situated. And
Hmm.
then I get this diagnosis. And so I went into this place of numbness because I just had to get everything going. Like I
Hmm.
just tuned off my own feelings because otherwise I fell into fear or sadness or despair. And so it became almost like a robot, like wake up, make breakfast, send the kids to school, do their homework, this kind of, and it was really for me as a person who's very ecstatic and, loves to be in joy. I
Hmm.
had joy. And so when it came, that was around the end of the year. And at the end of the year, when I came time for my New Year's resolution, I said, what do I want? And I didn't want any of the things I wanted before, like to lose 10 pounds or, you know, more clients or something like that. I just wanted joy because I just was flat. And so for anyone out there who has ever been through depression, that is such a place of non-feeling that my heart goes out to you because yeah, it's that numbness is chilling almost. And so for me, when it came to time to write, I thought, okay, that's the thing I got to write about. Okay. But because it had been 6 years or 5 years at the time, um, I didn't have that emotional edge to it. And so I knew I was going to write about, I went into my intuition. I saw the image of a phoenix. I thought about cycles And so I thought, I'm going to write about the moon cycle. So I knew that that was what I knew,
Mhm.
but I didn't know how, like, to get into the emotion. I didn't want to write something didactic, you know? And so I did this practice that I invite the audience to do as well, as a way to find and tune into your intuition, as I call it, DJ Oracle. So you take a playlist on Spotify and you just ask a question. And so in this case, I asked a question: what message is there for me? Like, how can I get into this writing? And so I hit shuffle and I hit stand by me. You know, when the when the land is dark and the moonlight is the only thing I see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. So I was like, okay. So I turned it on. I started dancing. I was like, you know, singing it. And then when it said that part, stand by me, because it was so perfect. It was about the moonlight, right? That's what I was writing about. But when it said, stand by me, no, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me, I started crying. I started convulsing because I had this knowing, and this is what I was meant to write about, is that I felt like my body betrayed me.
Mhm.
And I was mad at my body because I had, previous to that, been through another health scare and I had done all these things to become healthy. And then all the time I had this cancerous mole on my back. And so I was angry about that. And so as I began to write, I realized that that numbness was like me putting up bricks of, of non-feeling in front of my whole body, in front of my heart. And I realized that it was so easy for me to do because all my life I had been putting up bricks by listening to voices of the patriarchy, the voices that said, you know, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're not enough, you're too much, you're too sexy, you know, you're too this, you're too that, you're not this or not that. So it was so easy for me just to take my mortar, slap on another brick, right? And
Mhm.
so as I began to write about the moon cycle, I remembered in my darkest days, the full moon, what we talked about earlier, because
Mhm.
I was really in the dark phase of the moon, in that place of unknown. I didn't know what my treatment was going to be. I didn't know, you know, if it was going to be around, you know, that place. But when and because I mean, life just works out so amazingly. It was a sun cancer, right? So I couldn't go. I was afraid, terrified to go in the sun. And so
Mhm.
I went out at night and I began to watch the moon.
Mhm.
And I saw the moon change from like darkness into a sliver, into a quarter, into the full, and then it come back into itself. And so I thought, I'm going to follow that rhythm. And I followed that rhythm. And there was a part of me that when I saw the full moon, because you know how the full moon makes you feel, right? I thought maybe there's hope for me again, that I can be in that full moon energy. Because up to that time, I wasn't really, I followed the moon. I was still flat. But what I did is I tuned into my intuition. I did oracle cards every day. I journaled. I dressed in colors of
Mhm.
archetypes, the 13 moon archetypes, because that's a system of full divine feminine embodiment. And even though I didn't feel it on the inside, I was like, I'm just going to work through this cycle. And so what I ended up writing about was those four phases of the moon, which
Mhm.
I call mother, queen, goddess, and sage. The
Mhm.
new, the first quarter, the full, and the third quarter. And I discovered it's a pathway for living. And when we can use the archetypal energies, for example, the mother, and we can start in emptiness and surrender, and then
Mhm.
we can move and start in love. So the mantra is love like a mother. Then we can move to the first quarter, and that's the place of more activity as the moon cycle grows. That's the time to begin to sit on your throne, look at your queendom, and say, what is out of order? What is out of balance? How can I ask for help? Yes, ask for help. I know that's a hard one for many people, but if you think of the energy of the queen doesn't manage the queendom all by herself. She has help, she has a court of support. And so that's the time when you reign like a queen, and then you come into the full moon. That's the time of the goddess, the time to shine like a goddess. That's the time of like coming on interviews like this, or asking for a raise, or going on a picnic with your family. It's like a time to open your heart to connect with others and to connect with your own divinity, with your own, you know, purpose, your own divine spark, and allow that to walk on earth. And then finally, the last one, which is another one we often forget, is the sage. In order to lead like a sage, we need to come into reflection. We need to come into completion with our projects instead of just having things half done. We need to let go of self doubt. We need to come into reflection as to what worked and what didn't without judgment. Put those things aside, let everything go so that we can start once again at the Great Mother and become empty. So, that for me was a beautiful lesson for how I had gone through my own experience of coming out of the darkness. And so, what I did in that chapter is I wrote poetry from those voices that came through me. And that chapter is called Voices in the Moonlight because I feel that, especially as women, we have unconsciously listened to these voices of not enoughness,
Mm-hmm.
and that we walk around with these voices in our head. And
Mm-hmm.
what we haven't been given are these voices of Mother, Queen, Goddess, and Sage, these voices that say, you are unconditionally loved no matter what you do. These voices that say, you are majestic, you are a queen, or that you are a goddess, that you are connected to the earth and to your own heart, and that you are a wise woman, you are a sage, and you have a mission and a purpose for this world, for your life, for this planet. And so that was, the gift that came through me, that I was able to write out. And then later I created different archetypal embodiment kits for women to learn how to embody these energies. And I recorded those poetries with music behind it, so that that's something that, as part of my mission to set the world on fire with love, I am leaving that as new voices for women to hear, so that they can remember the truth of who they really are, and not have to walk around with these bricks of a half lived life because of these external voices. That's the gift of this time, too, Maya, is that we are in a time where we have come home to ourselves. It's a lot less noisy out there. And it's really a time when we can tune into our own voice. Because just like in that story for me, I had a story of mine to share and how I went through it, and it became a gift to others. And whoever's listening out there also has a story. And when they can tune in through their intuition and by actually listening to their inner voice, they might have something that could be of tremendous value for others. And that's how we're going to set the world on fire with love, through our intuition, through allowing it to come into our hearts and to feel it, and allowing it to be birthed through our wombs as a creative endeavor or project.
Yes, wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing such an intimate experience, and to which depth you you have to come down to in order to like transform yourself and rebirth yourself. And I mean, there's so many things about it that I loved. Of course, how you were just naturally like connected yourself to the moon because you couldn't come out during the day, and also how you did go ahead and try to put on colors even though maybe you weren't quite feeling it at that particular time, but it came back, like you were kind of like going on faith. And it paid back. It kind of, it brought you back. It seems like it brought you back to life, and you were able to explore the deepest parts of yourself, um and just come out of this experience beautifully, like way more enriched that you were before. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. um
Thank you. And that's why this talk is called She Who Holds. Like what you're describing, that faith, that's been the edge for me, is to really know that I know that I am she who holds, as a mother, and, all the mothers and all the women out there who hold so much for so many people. Like I know that in myself, but what has been my edge in these past 5, 6 years is knowing that I am held. And that's what it's coming to me now as I think, why did I name this She Who Holds, right? Because I'm referring in this instance to the mother, because she is the one who holds. She holds all of us. And when I I think that when we know that and we can embody that and live that, that's when we can take greater leaps of faith, because we know we're going to be held. We know that we are here for a divine purpose. We know that we've always been held. Like when we know that in the depth of our being, then it's like, okay, I'm held. What am I here to do?
yes,
I don't have to do it all by myself. Someone's holding me.
yes, we do. It's a matter of us, or I'll just speak on the personal level. It's a matter of me like feeling into that trust and letting me feel the fact that yeah, she's here, she holds me, I breathe her, I live her, I drink her water, I get dressed in her clothing. Of course I eat, everything that she provides, and definitely, of course, we have legions of people who help us, to bring all of these of her gifts forth, like the clothes. I mean, I don't like, if you go to Peru, for instance, you can see, the women there. I mean, they raise the sheep, they shave it, they color the fabric, they make the fabric. I mean, me in the Western world, I don't do that. I don't have to do that, and I'm grateful to all the people who do that for me. So, but going back to what you said, yeah, it's the mother archetype. It's she who holds. So, um it's it's basically you co-authored a series of new feminine evolutionary books. In your chapter She Who Holds, you describe 5 transmissions you received as you wrote and discovered that motherhood has been your path of family evolution, making you a stronger, wiser, more loving woman. So how can claiming the 5 truths help us to tune to the voice of Mother Earth and to our soul purpose?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned that as we began speaking just a moment ago. The first transmission is She Who Holds. And in that book, I was asked to write the first time. And it was so exciting for me because I had always wanted to be a writer. I have a background in literature, but I didn't know what to write, except I did have this intuitive hit that my edge, because writing from your edge is so powerful, was I knew that I was she who holds. Like I knew that, but I didn't really believe that I was held. Like, am I really held? Can I go forth with my purpose? Will the family fall apart if I leave them because I'm holding everything together? Like, can they hold me as I hold them, as I expand into my work? Can I be held by my family, by my sisterhood, by the community? This was my edge. And so when I sat down to write, I thought about, okay, I am she who holds. What is that knowing? And I remembered what made me know that was when our first child was born. And so that chapter was all about that moment of when I held her. She's here. She's here. I can't believe she's here, because our daughter was, a beautiful light jewel in my heart since I was 23 years old. When I was traveling for the first time in Asia, and I was in Turkey, and I was on the Bosphorus River, and I thought, I'm going to name our daughter Aja
Mhm.
because it means, and Soleil, which means sun, and Aurora means the dawn. So I'm going to call her Aja Soleil, and I began to journal to her in my early 20s. And so I didn't have her until I was 30. And so when I held her, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I am she who holds, I am a mother. And so I wrote about that. And while she was in my womb, I heard a tune, and I created a birthing song for her
Oh,
that I,
wow.
yeah, so that I sang while I was pregnant. And so when she came into the world, I sang it to her. When I first held her, I sang her song. And then even now that she's a teenager, sometimes I sing her song to her, because her song, I wrote the lyrics for her to remember who she really is.
Mm.
The sun and the moon, the stars in the sky, all are reflected in your loving eyes. Whole and complete, a gift from above, we surround you with our love. I wanted her to always know that. Yeah, it really touches my heart to even say the lyrics. And so I knew that. The second one, I didn't, that was my edge, right? So I had a big block, and then it hit me, and I began to write about my miscarriage. And I wrote about it for 10 days. And I was in such deep grief, this miscarriage I had had years before, and that I had honored with a celebration, because after the miscarriage, I just couldn't get back to normal. And I didn't have closure. And so I asked my family to come with me to do a ceremony on the beach.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they thought it was crazy or what, but they all had scripts of what they needed to say and what they did. Because for me, I needed to honor that life in ceremony and in
Mhm.
ritual. And they did it. And when I thought back to that, I thought, it still always gets me. I thought, wow, I am really held. because my family held me through this dark, dark time. And so that's it. I am she who holds, I am she who is held. Then afterwards, I said, oh, I have to write about my son. And when I felt into his energy, his masculine energy, I remember when he was a toddler, that's when I began to have my own desire of wanting to do something more than mother. And that's when I started to train to become a coach. And so that truth is, I am she who ignites the spark, that place in all of us that is full of this divine creative energy that wants to come forward, right? And I am she who ignites that. And then
Mhm.
the fourth was, I am she who tends the flame. And that was all about this journey with melanoma and how I had gone through all this mothering. And that journey had me learn to mother myself
Mhm.
through doing the oracle cards, to sitting in the moonlight, through journaling, through wearing the clothes, putting on the essential oils. Like that taught me to really slow down and listen. And then finally, I got to the end of it and I was like, okay, what am I writing about? The new feminine evolutionary. What does this have to do? Like my mothering. And I realized that motherhood has been my journey that has opened me up. Because for me, to be a new feminine evolutionary is to awaken this consciousness of being stronger, more loving, more wise. Those three flames: power, love, and wisdom. And so
Mhm.
when I got to the end of it, I wanted to actually read to you a little bit from the book. Um, because I sat with, okay, what is a new feminine evolutionary? And this is the last one. I am she who stands in the fire. And it's so predictive of the time we're in now. And so the first poem goes, I am here now, pregnant this time with possibility. A new world awaits, feminine energy rising, swirling, expanding, the old system crumbling, a world in chaos. From the ashes, a new song of sisterhood arises, a remembrance of our power, love, wisdom. A fire now lit in our hearts, flaming through our bodies, alchemizing all into love. Sisters everywhere, burning down all that no longer serves, birthing a new paradigm. Together we forge a new world, a world ablaze in feminine fire. I am she who stands in the fire. And so when I came to the very end of this chapter, I continued to write that this new feminine evolutionary is waiting to be birthed inside all of us. It's needing to be born, men and women. Our
Mhm.
world is crumbling, old structures and traditions falling with the patriarchy, fighting desperately for power once more. Our earth is crying, our children ravaged by war and disease. We need a guide, a light to ignite the spark of hope again, a melody to lead us through the dark night into the light of day. Something stirs in the darkness like the lullabies that called my children into being. I hear a new song, a song of hope, a song of sisters rising, a song of sisters reaching in to reach out and heal the world, a song of the heart reminding of us of our own innate power, love, and wisdom, a sacred song guiding us from transition to crowning until at last we marvel at our own evolution, cradled gently in our arms, a song birthing the new feminine evolutionary into being. And that's where I wrote those 5 transmission, because that became the song. And it goes like this. Here's my breathy voice. I am she who holds. I am she who is held. I am she who ignites the spark. I am she who tends the flame. I am she who stands in the fire.
Thank you so much. Amazing. I love it. I love the song. I love everything you said. Really, it's just wonderful. And I wish all of us were birthed into the world like you brought your daughter, that have you hoped and wished for her, and you've given her this gift that's a song of her our own, knowing that she's always helped, she's always loved. I mean, just amazing. Not just about everything you've said, and the chapter you read, and how you use the metaphors, the birthing metaphors, into this world. It's amazing. And I love your song, how you bring the elements of almost dance, movement together with the song. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I love seeing your face. And you said, I wish that we all had a song to welcome us into the world. This song is my gift to everyone because this is your song, Maya, to welcome. This is your birthing song to birth your new feminine evolutionary, and for all those who are listening. And I just love seeing the light on your face. Like I can just feel how lit up you are. And that's what I wish for everyone, is to know that they are home, like that they have that feeling of what is it like to be held in a mother's arms, and to be so wanted and to be so loved. So thank you for the gift of your expression. That's really like
Thank you, Aurora. Thank you.
a midwife.
Thank you. So in closing, I just wanted to ask, we talked a lot about birthing and the mother archetype. So the last question I wanted to ask you is, how can we both, like men and women who are listening, to attune to the energy of Mother Earth and mother archetype to birth the new world? And there's any like specific suggestions or tools you can offer us to help everyone to embody the feminine, energy in our daily lives. I know we touched about it a little bit before, but it's just in closing, if you can bring it all together again.
Let's see. Okay, so what I would say is to look at the structures of your life, like to know that you are the creatrix, the creator. You're the architect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
To look at the structures, and that can be the voices that you listen to anything that's guiding you, and to notice, is that yours? Is that what your soul is saying, is calling you forward? So that would be the first. The second would be to create a devotional practice, to create a practice where whatever your faith is or whatever you're devoted to take that sacred time. It's like to take that sacred pause that we're in now, but especially now that we have the time, to create something that you can sustain. So it could be as simple as lighting a candle, and saying a little prayer. It could be creating an altar. It could be doing oracle cards every day. It could be taking a walk in nature. But the intention behind that sacred practice is that that is your devotional practice. Could be walking on the land barefoot and thinking, I'm kissing Mother Earth as I walk, and feed me, nourish me, and help me feed you and nourish you, something like that. So creating that practice. And then the other, what I'm feeling called to say, is to create connection and spaces of support. There's the part of us to do the devotional practice by ourselves, but we are here not to live alone. We're here to build community, to connect heart to heart. One of the things I love that's coming from this pandemic is that we're probably no longer going to be shaking hands for a while. That old way, how firm is your handshake? That whole kind of thing like that. That way of connecting and reaching out to other, that has a very business kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now what I'm seeing, and what I would love to see, is how people come like this and they bow to one another, because that's that gesture of you and yourself uniting your masculine and feminine, being integrated in yourself. And that that phrase of namaste, or whatever you want to say, is about, I honor the divinity in you. Like, I see your divine spark. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I would say, is there's that place where we honor and we connect through our devotion to ourselves, to listening and to paying attention to our intuition. And there's that place where we open our eyes, look at one another, and bow in gratitude to the divinity and the humanity that's in each of us, that sacred connection. I'd say those are the three things I would leave the audience with, is, look at the structures, create your devotional practice, and find ways of connecting with people and
Yeah.
sharing your light.
Mm-hmm. Yes, wonderful. Yeah, these are all wonderful, helpful tools. Absolutely, that we can all think about. So I wanted to say that you have a wonderful gift to our audience. It's in the form of the feminine lunar archetypes. It's a quiz. So do you want to just speak a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is a really fun quiz. It takes like 90 seconds. It's very short, but at the end of it, you'll get the results of whether or not the archetypal ally, because remember my chapter is called Voices in the Moonlight. So I
Mhm.
feel like it's the voice that's calling to you. And so each archetype has a gift and a shadow. And so sometimes we may be in the shadow, like in the shadow of mother, for example, since we've been talking about her today, is exhaustion, right? It's doing too much, being over responsible. That's the shadow quality of over giving. And
Mhm.
the light quality is unconditional love, it's sanctuary, it's rest. So by taking this quiz, you're going to be able to identify some of these things, and then you'll get the results on the results page. You'll learn, you know, what are some of the light qualities, what are the shadow qualities, what are the challenges, and you know, how you can use which moon phase to work with that. And then if you want to dive further, there are some archetypal embodiment kits that you can purchase to learn either about that archetype, or you can do the whole bundle. And then what's also really fun is afterwards I have a nurturing sequence of emails that talk about the three feminine fire secrets. So in that, I have a lot of little goodies, you know, like for example, the song that I sing, I have that recorded. So there's a link to that song. There's a link to the chapter of Sacred Body Wisdom. There's a meditational tool. Yeah, so just a lot of fun little free gifts in there to help, you know, women to really connect and keep their feminine fire ignited.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, seems like there's a plethora of good stuff you're offering. So wonderful.
My Oprah moment. And you can have this.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Aurora, I just wanted to thank you so much for just really deeply sharing about your personal path, about, giving us the wisdom and the tools to move forward, or to just be present and just live our lives day to day as we're going through these times and in the future. So thank you so much for being a part of Attuning to the Voice of Mother Earth Summit.
Oh, I've loved it. Thank you. It's been such a delight. And I just sending all love and blessings to all those who are listening. And may all of us attune more deeply to the voice of Mother Earth. Thank you for creating this vortex of energy, Maya, so that we can listen and attune more deeply.
Thank you so much.